Okay, so this section we're talking about something called the PPF. And before we get there, let's do a quick reminder. Remember we said before that we have scarcity, and scarcity leads to trade-offs, right? So we have to make decisions about how to allocate our scarce resources. And the PPF is going to be a model which can look at this kind of decisions from the point of view of the society. Okay, so let's write this out in full. So we have scarcity, trade-offs, and we have to make decisions about allocations. We have to make decisions. So we can use a similar model to talk about individual decisions. In your textbook, they talk about the budget constraint, or we can use one to talk about decisions at the level of the society. In the interest of time, and also because this is a macro class, we're just going to look at the one that is about society. So the PPF, otherwise known as the Production Possibilities Frontier, is a line or curve that can represent, it shows the maximum attainable combinations that can be produced of some goods. So this is the maximum attainable combinations of products or to goods that can be produced. And here comes a key part. This is with two limitations, right? So remember, we have scarcity, meaning we have limitations on what we can do. So in this case, our limitations are resources in technology. So given available resources and current technology. So those are our two limiting factors. Available resources, one, and current technology, number two. Okay, so it goes back to our economic idea of having some kind of limitation. We can also use a similar model. So we're gonna use this to look at we're gonna look at social choices. Okay, level of society, but you can also look at individual choices. You can also look at something similar and to look at individual choices. We can also use for individual choices. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get our idea. So let's just take two goods, just to kind of pick randomly. We could say we have food and smartphones. Okay, so we have our society has our food and our smartphones as our two goods, right? So we have two things we can produce with our resources, and so our society could then go ahead and say, well, so we're gonna model this. Here we go, food, and let's say we put 100% of our resources into producing food. Then we can get a certain amount of food. I'm just going to make up a number here and call it like 1,000 units. Okay, and then let's suppose if we put all of our resources into making smartphones, then we could get this like 300 units. Okay, and then so these are both choices. We could put all of our resources into food, we get 1,000 units. We can put all our resources in smartphones, we get 300 units. And then let's just draw a quick line to connect these two. Okay, so we connect them, and then there we have it. So this is shows us our what your textbook is calling an opportunity set. So everything inside of this line is a part of our opportunity set. So let's label a few points here. Okay, so first of all, A, that's only food, right? Or all food, maybe is a better way to say it. Okay, B, only, I'll say this one, only smartphones. Okay, so we get this idea. So A is a very extreme point. If you remember your XY coordinate, there we have the coordinate is, we have our coordinate of 0, for our x-axis, the smartphones, and 1,000 for our y-axis of food. Okay, and then the other one again is the opposite. We have 300 smartphones, but our coordinate for food is showing 0, right? So this is what we could do if we did all or nothing, but we can also do some combinations in between, right? So like for example, C or D, these are some combinations in between. So they're producing a combination. We're producing C, we're producing a lot of food, but some smartphones. And D, we're producing a lot of smartphones, but we're still producing some food, so not as extreme. Now, we can say something about these. One thing we can say is this positions A, this was B, sorry, I forgot to label it. These positions of A, B, C, and D, we can, these are possible, right? These are all possible. Now, let's go ahead for a second and label another point. Let's label a point E, and let's ask, is E possible? Okay, so you can take a second to think. You may pause the video, and yeah, definitely E is possible. So E is also possible. E is possible because, sure, if we can do this many, then we can do less, right? We could choose to do a little bit less. So let's suppose C was like 800. I don't know. Then yeah, we could do less than that, and we could do less smartphones than that. So that's totally possible. The next question would have, well, what about F? Is F possible? So no. Okay. So we got points like F are not possible. Not possible. A point like F will be not possible because it's outside of our opportunity set, right? So it's not possible that we could do that. You know, with our given technology, we can't produce that much food and that many smartphones at the same time. Okay, it's just not possible. And then the last question I'll ask you before we end this section of the video is, what about efficiency? Okay, so that's the last question we could ask ourselves is, well, what about efficiency? And so F is not possible, so we can ignore that. So we got A, B, C, D, E. Now, A, could we do better than A? Well, we could do more smartphones, but if we do, we got to give up some food. And same thing with C, D, and B. We could do more of one or the other thing, but we have to give something up. Could we do better than E? Well, the answer is yes, we could do better than E. So for example, if we're going this direction, we could get more of both things, right? We could get more food and more smartphones without giving anything up. So we can say then that as our last point here, we can say that A, B, C, and D are efficient. And we can say that E is inefficient. So E is inefficient. Okay, we'll go ahead and stop there. We'll pick up on the next video.